Morning. Have you got that Friday feeling? I think we have. We're giggling away here. The weekend is almost here and you're waking up to Ireland AM.
Simon Harris has ruled out a coalition with a left-wing alliance of more than one party in Fianna Fáil after next week's general election. We'll delve into this morning's newspapers.
Andy Farrell has made 7 changes to the Ireland team who face Fiji tomorrow. We'll be discussing that and all today's sports news.
The Ballymahon bombshell is back. We're looking back on a bumper I'm a Celebrity where our very own Maura Higgins had a cracking start, putting her acting chops to the test, trying to convince the main camp that she's living in despair.
We'll be joined by Humanitarian live in Lebanon to discuss the latest escalation in violence, which has claimed thousands of innocent lives and forced hundreds of thousands to flee their homes.
His novel, The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas, has sold over 12 million copies worldwide. Author John Boyne will be joining us after 9.
And they're sexy and they know it. The cast of the Dreamboys will be stopping by to kickstart your weekend in style. I'm tripping over my words already, the thought of it, really.
Well, as long as that's all you're tripping over this morning, we'll be grand. We'll be grand. Now, we'll take an opening look. Now we'll have a first check on your morning paper, starting with the Irish Times. Its headline reads, Harris rejects coalition with left-wing alliance. The paper writes that Fine Gael leader Simon Harris has rejected the idea that a left-wing alliance of more than one party could join a coalition government with his party and Fianna Fáil after next week's general election.
The front page of the Irish Independent opens with 90,000 mortgage customers overcharged interest on loans. It writes that tens of thousands of homeowners who originally took out their mortgages with Ulster Bank will be compensated after a blunder meant they were overcharged interest.
Over to the Irish Examiner, which goes with coroner calls for key barriers in Cork. It reports that 13 people have driven into water at Kennedy Quay since 2018, with the Cork City coroner appealing for barriers to be erected.
On to the tabloids, and the Daily Mail's headline reads, Diplomatic mission to woo Trump. It writes that Ireland is to embark on a diplomatic mission to woo Donald Trump in a bid to avoid the introduction of tariffs between the US and the EU.
The Herald opens with gym owner loses compo for deadlift. The paper writes that a personal trainer who turned down a $15,000 settlement offer after he was trapped in an elevator has instead been awarded $10,000.
The Mirror leads with Ireland on storm alert. Bert. The paper reports that Ireland has been warned to brace for gales, heavy downpours and possible flooding when Storm Bert rolls in from the Atlantic tonight.
The Star also covers Storm Bert with the headline Bertie Astern. It reports that the second named storm of the season is expected to make landfall today, bringing powerful winds and heavy rain across the entire country.
And finally, the Sun also leads with the incoming storm. Their headline reads, Bert Alert.
Now, Virgin Media is turning the Black Friday season red, and we've teamed up with Virgin Media Broadband to give away an amazing prize package.
Every day this week, you have the chance to win a 4K smart TV, an Xbox Series S console and a Samsung Galaxy S24 phone.
So today we want to hear your festive family stories. Did one of the kids spot Santa on Christmas Eve, or maybe Granny burnt the turkey and you had to go and get a takeaway on Christmas Day? Do let us know.
Yes, please share your story with us along with your name and address to irelandamcomp@virginmedia.ie, and best of luck.
Now, brace yourselves, Storm Bert is coming. We'll have the details plus the other stories making today's front pages. That's next. You're very welcome back. Another day on the election trail, and Simon Harris has ruled out a coalition with a left-wing alliance of more than one party. Joining us with that story and everything else this morning, our PR consultant and public affairs commentator, Fiona Cahill, and political correspondent with the Irish Examiner, Paul Hosford. Paul, gee, we may as well camp out here in this couch at this stage. I see you so often now. The most thrilling, the most exciting election campaign of them all, really, Fiona.
We're thrilled, and we just want to make sure there's always enough gingers on this couch as well, to be honest. That has to be done on a Friday morning.
Proportional representation.
Exactly.
So anyway, Fiona, Simon Harris, not surprisingly, has ruled out a rainbow left coalition.
Yeah, and look, I suppose we shouldn't be surprised by this kind of narrative coming from current government parties either. Like, no large party wants to spend time talking about the small parties. They just don't. And they don't want to present a situation to anyone, any voters on the ground, that suggests that they're not going to be leading and managing and the largest party in the next government. So they don't want to suggest that they'll work with a mishmash of smaller parties. So I'm not surprised by this from Simon Harris, but I also necessarily wouldn't be surprised if we saw a hand of friendship post-election coming Labour's way all the same. In the same breath as he was saying that, he wasn't in favour of a kind of working with a broad left coalition of parties, he was kind of saying, well, Labour have given us some good tips around housing. So ultimately, what we've got here is, some very much a sense of people wanting to not really work with the main government parties. Yeah,
I suppose when you think about it, though, what will be happening over the next weeks, really, because once the election is, there will be clearly no party is going to get anywhere near majority or anything vaguely close to it. But ruling out a coalition with a broad spectrum of left can kind of be understandable. And Labour as well, historically, their life in coalition has not been great any time they have gone into one. If we remember the famous days of Dick Spring, and Labour was flying high, went into coalition, was decimated in the next election.
Yeah, and I think what you're looking at now is numbers. The polls are great in the weeks leading up to an election, but now the rubber hits the road and you have to think about seats. It's all well and good polling at 27, 28%, but if you can't turn around seats, the election is going to be a failure. A Dáil majority next time around is 88. There's no large party in Ireland anymore. There's 3 medium-sized parties between Sinn Féin, Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. So you're going to end up with some kind of coalition between 2 of those and someone else for the foreseeable, unless something shifts. So I think what Simon Harris is looking at here is nobody wants to accept it. Simon Harris won't accept it, Mary Lou McDonald won't accept it, Micheál Martin won't accept it, that there won't be a majority party in the next Dáil. What Simon Harris is looking at here is, if I'm going to go back into coalition with Micheál Martin and Fine Gael, and we need a third leg to that stool, how much do I want to give up? Because the attitude from Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael backbenchers in the last Dáil was that the Green Party was the tail that wagged the dog, that it got too much. And one of the things about the Greens, you can argue about what they wanted to get, but they got a lot of what they wanted. Yeah. They set out, and Eamon Ryan, when you look back on the last government, or the outgoing government, you'll realise that Eamon Ryan was a very bloody-minded pragmatist. He looked at what he could get, didn't get involved in politics. There were times where the Greens were incredibly politically naive, let themselves be run over, knew that, an electoral, not necessarily a wipeout, they seem to be doing okay, but that they're going to lose seats in this election. Didn't care, because there was policy on the table, there was legislation on the table to advance. Now, you go and you discuss this with what Ivana Bacik has put forward, this idea that Labour, the Soc Dems, the Greens and a couple of independents will go away and form this bloc. The amount that you have to give up to bring in those, and look, on their best day, they probably account for 28 or 30 seats. The amount of power that they have, plus, I mean, you're adding 3 more parties. If they have a falling out over some minor inconvenience or who gets more junior ministerial seats, then you have to deal with the fallout of that. It's just a lot easier to get to a Fianna Fáil...
Bigger bloc parties and that's...
100%. If you're Simon Harris, you want to get yourself and Fianna Fáil to 80, 84 seats and then deal with 10 Labour TDs.
No one's talking to Aon to. They seem to be like the child in the corner of the playground that no one wants to throw the ball to.
Yeah, look at Peadar Tóibín, I think broadly has done very well, particularly this week in terms of gaining, I suppose, a lot of confidence possibly from the debate. Earlier in the week, a sense that he's, people are getting this sense from him that he's the kind of the reasonable man in the room. But to be honest with you, and I think based on a great article in the Examiner this morning, talking about the kind of quite a messy manifesto delivery even to media, yesterday, they only have one TD in the Dáil. So the whole ship of Aon entirely rests on Peadar Tóibín. And if he can't pull everyone forward, it's not going to work.
You were at that election manifesto launch.
Yes.
And you wrote said article in the Examiner.
Yes, so thank you very much. This was, I suppose the big thing from it was that Peadar Tóibín, once again, he kind of said that he would go into government with Fianna Fáil. Fianna Fáil is the only party that he said he would. He called them an empty, hollow husk that was easy to direct. Yesterday they launched their manifesto. We didn't get copies of the manifesto till about 45 minutes in. The first question, normally you would get them as you enter. You can ask questions based on the policy. First question to Peadar Tóibín was, "You've talked about your detailed document. Can we have it?"
Because you can't ask questions on a document you don't have.
Yeah, he had given a speech, so we were kind of taking notes and trying to compare, but you don't have the actual document.
You don't have the nuts and bolts of it. You can't
exactly, and it was put to him that Micheál Martin had said down in Kilkenny that he wouldn't go into government with Patrick O'Bean because Patrick O'Bean doesn't have the basic respect for him or Fianna Fáil, and Patrick O'Bean said that he would give Micheál Martin a hug the next time he sees him. He said that he would. He said a bruised ego, Micheál Martin's bruised ego, shouldn't get in the way of coalition talks.
But when we look at that, I mean, what about any other? Everything's kind of going Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael again. What about Fianna Fáil, Sinn Féin? Has that been mooted at all?
This was something that was kind of mooted in 2020. There was actually a period in the government formation talks in 2020, around about March or April in 2020, where nothing was happening. We'd just gone into COVID. Nobody wanted to talk. And there was, Micheál Martin had come back with 37 TDs. There was about 15 TDs who had kind of said, look, we're getting to the point where we need to start talking about Sinn Féin. And,
you think they'd be ideologically more aligned than Fine Gael, really, in some way?
Well, Micheál Martin rejects that all the time. And the one thing he's been big on in this campaign is he doesn't believe that Sinn Féin is a pro-enterprise party. Pierce Doherty says, look, we are... I don't think Pierce Doherty wants to tear up the economic system at all. But Micheál Martin doesn't believe that Sinn Féin fundamentally believes what Fianna Fáil does. So you're kind of at that point where... You know, you're kind of talking to senior politicians who aren't engaging in reality. The polls suggest that there's going to be a 2 or 3 party coalition. Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael have ruled out Sinn Féin. So unless Sinn Féin has a great day, unless that left alliance then has an even better day, the reality is that you're probably looking at the most likely government formation of being Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael, and that I suppose the question is who makes up the third part of that coalition.
So more of the same, really, if the polls are to be believed, and if the way the government parties currently are talking is to be believed. I talked about Fianna Fáil there. May as well stay vaguely with Bertie Ahern.
Oh my God, I think that's one of our favourite headlines.
It's the best.
I didn't get it. I'm so half asleep that I need more coffee. Bertie Ahern, I don't get that. So Storm Burt is coming.
Yeah, no, Storm Burt. No, Bertie Ahern. There's absolutely no need whatsoever to bring Bertie into this, and yet they've managed it, which is why I love it so much, because it's ridiculous. But less ridiculous and kind of a bit kind of crap for a lot of people now is kind of looking down the barrel of Storm Burt. The reality is there's going to be incredibly high winds, incredibly fast winds, very much storm conditions coming to us over the next number of days. So really, I suppose it's kind of getting yourself prepared for that, doing what you need to do, keeping an eye on the weather forecast and making sure you're prepared wherever you are, and particularly things about travel. I mean, we hear this all the time, but you need to take more time to travel, or not travel at all if possible when there is storm-like conditions, and don't take those risks, because if you do that and then you're rushing somewhere, that's when accidents happen.
I think based on the weather forecast, if Simon Harris wants to win this election, he'll go on TV now and announce a day off. Everyone stay in bed.
Snow day, that's what we love.
The temperatures are set to be like a perimenopausal woman from -4 up to 15 degrees today. That's absolutely bonkers.
Yeah. There's a lot going on, and yet in a lot of places, obviously, because it's going up to 15, snow isn't going to stay on the ground, which means we may not get our snow day. But there will be parts of the country, particularly in the west, some beautiful photographs this morning. But photographs are one thing, feeling it is another. And I think the reality for a lot of people who are paying high energy bills at the minute is going to be is they're very much coming into an election thinking about energy, thinking about cost of living, even more so when the cold snap hits.
Indeed, because I don't know about you, but I've electric blankets and heating on and everything the last couple of days.
The weighted blanket will be bought as well.
Baltic, absolutely Baltic. Slipper socks, the whole lot. Anyway, thank you both so much for joining us on the show this morning. May the force be with you in the coming week.
Thank you
that's
very
all
much.
I can say.
8 days to go.
8 days to go. Not that you're counting.
No.
Not the minutes and the seconds. Anyway, lovely to talk to you once again. We'll talk to you again next weekend, I'm sure. Not. Anyway, after the break, we're chatting sport, including the 7 changes that Andy Farrell has made to the Irish team facing Fiji tomorrow. See you in 3.
Welcome back. Last night saw the debut of our own Maura Higgins on I'm a Celeb, and her first day in the jungle wasn't quite as glam as her time in the Love Island villa.
No, now Cassie Delaney joins us with all the latest jungle tea. But first, let's take a look back to last night's episode where Maura and the Reverend Richard Coles have to convince the main camp that they're living in despair, when in actual fact they're living it up in luxury.
Yeah. Check out this task.
Well, get in there.
I just can't live like this. Jesus Christ. Sorry, Father.
Sorry, Papa. It's all right, you're forgiven. Let's do this.
No, I don't want more.
Oh, that's it.
Come
That's
down.
it. Come on, guys.
Think beautiful thoughts, yeah?
Think beautiful thoughts.
Yeah.
What makes you happy? What makes you guys smile?
Food.
Okay. Yeah, think about your favourite food.
It'd be a fruit plate for me.
I'm starving.
Oh, pair of them together are brilliant.
it's
I think
fantastic.
Richard Coles was brilliant in that. For those who didn't say it, they're making out that they're dealing with all the offal and all the sludge up above when, in fact, there's not a drop of it going near them. They're just pulling chains, and poor old Melvin's getting a blast of that while they're
Very
eating
funny,
cheese sandwiches, drinking tea,
Oh, having a
and
little
then
afternoon
fruit plates.
tea up there. They were having the time of their lives.
Weren't
and this is
they?
the whole thing. So they've come in yesterday, and their whole premise is that they have to fake that they're in the jungle junkyard and that they're in squalor. So any campmates that have come in and seen it have seen these kind of patches on the ground that look like they're beds. They don't seem to have anything. They don't seem to have any food. But in reality, everything opens up. They've got a bubble bath that's lovely, tepid, warm water. And they have a lovely, soft double bed. They've got a fridge. They've got smoothies. They've got everything they could want in there.
What I love, what I'm enjoying is Maura keeps referring to the Reverend Richard Coles as father.
I know.
Sorry,
It's
Father.
so Irish, isn't it?
Yes.
It's brilliant. We're already getting such good one-liners out of it, out of her. Like last time, she's like, I didn't think I'd be sleeping with the vicar, but my friends won't be surprised.
I know.
Yeah.
So good.
God, she's TV gold.
She's so memeable. Like,
Yeah.
that's it. She knows what she's doing.
She
Like,
does.
She's so, like, offhand funny, though, as well.
Talk to us about who she went in with, the Reverend Richard Coles. I didn't know that much about him.
Yeah, so he's a TV vicar. Now, he was in a band in the 80s as well. He's got a lovely singing voice, so no doubt he'll entertain the campmates with that. So he's just kind of this big vicar on TV, this great figure. A lot of people will know him, but he's very funny, as you can see from last night as well.
His line during that challenge, as they were eating cheese
Yeah.
sandwiches and drinking tea, it's not tea and sandwiches up here.
I know. And then I didn't know evil could be so fun. Like they're working so well together.
Together, they
I mean, I
are.
think you could pair Maura with anyone and she'd get the best out of them. But like, there's a giddiness between the two of them that's
Yeah.
just so entertaining.
I
for
know,
TV.
and they
He's got to go to confession when this is over.
Oh,
because of the
100%.
lies he's
at
telling.
least twice. At
Yeah.
least
Yeah.
twice. I felt so sorry for poor old Melvin, who was underneath them, who was trying his best to catch the offal in his hands.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe they don't have enough of a connection to the campmates to feel guilty about it yet.
Oh, I mean, I think when you're in the jungle, everything is to play for anyway. I don't think I'd feel guilty if I was drinking a smoothie and sleeping in a double bed as well. Like, you'd want your home comforts. But yeah, poor Melvin, and it took him a couple of days to warm up and come out of his shell. So even when he went in, he was so excited and he was thrilled that he was going to win all these cupcakes for the starving campmates back at the main camp. And then for half of them to be taken away because of the contraband.
Well, rightly so.
Rightly so.
They were breaking the
Now,
rules.
Martin,
Oh.
what could you do without a cup of tea for 3 weeks?
That's why I wouldn't go in.
Yeah, that's the only reason. Yeah, it's not that nobody's never asked me to go into
No, nothing to do with that at all. But yeah, Dean McCullough had snuck in tea bags, but it turned out he wasn't the only blackguard.
Yeah, well, Melvin had taken in the seasoning and given it to Talisa so that when she could use it when she was cooking. So they discovered all of this last night. Now, they held on to 2 tea bags and a couple of sachets of salt and pepper, I think. But again, imagine that being contraband, such a small luxury to have salt
I
and
know.
pepper on your food.
They're really depriving them.
Chocolate
of
cupcakes were taken away.
Yes, so they lost half the cupcakes. And again, poor Melvin, when he came out and he was like, not the chocolate one.
Yeah. And he'd done so hard. And he was like encouraging them up there to stay strong as they like picked on grapes and ate their little afternoon tea.
I am wondering, though, what the reaction will be, because you know for certain the rest of the camp are going to find out that
Yeah.
these two have actually been living in luxury and that a bed was given up for one of them.
That's true.
Yes,
So last
talk
night,
about that,
Jane
yeah.
Moore had to give up her bed. So part of their challenge was to convince the campmates that they are struggling and in squalor. So they wrote a very impassionate letter to the main camp and begged for a bed. And Jane Moore jumped up straight away and the lads brought it over. But on the way over to bring over the bed, sure, Maura and Richard had to jump up and hide all their stuff. Like, it's great TV. It's absolutely
Oh, yeah,
brilliant.
because a little alarm goes off to say there's campmates on the way, so they've got to
Yeah.
fold up the double,
So
put
they're-
away the sofa.
Take off their robes.
Throwing on their overalls, like roughing their hair up. Yeah, it's brilliant.
And then the rest of them were down a bed then.
Yeah, well, Jane had a mattress, she said, somewhere that she was happy to sleep on, so it was fine. But
Luckily for her.
There's that, see, the first couple of days now, which will be interesting, those campmates have really bonded and they've kind of come together and they're really working very well together to win their food and support each other. So it'll be interesting to see how Maura and Richard integrate into that at the kind of the end, mid next week, I think, because they're going to be in this for a few days.
I wonder, does Maura want to get into acting? Because she's doing a phenomenal job, isn't she?
So good.
She's like disappointed, but not too upset and not too excited.
Yeah.
And, you know, she's quite muted. She's doing
Yeah,
very
it's
well.
fantastic acting, fantastic lying. Even the real sad child face when they come in with the bench, she's like, oh,
Look at her there, like.
we don't even have a fire. Like,
Yeah.
she tucks away her luxury food. Like they had fillet, you know, they had everything they could want to cook their dinner in last night as well. So
Yeah, but Richard is dovetailing with her because while she's saying she's hating it, he's saying, I'm very worried about her. I'm really worried
yeah,
about her.
he really committed to the bit in a way that I did not expect from a reverend.
Yeah, and for those who remember the 80s, he was a member of the Communards. Yeah, I know you said he was involved in a pop act. They had massive hits during the mid and late 80s. So yeah, he's had a couple of lives, that boy.
Of course.
Wow, okay. Can we talk about Dean?
Please, let's talk about Dean.
Let's talk about Dean.
Poor Dean has been put up for loads of Bush Tucker trials this week. So he's done, I think, 3, maybe last night was his 4th, and he's selected now for tonight's as well. So he's kind of had mixed success.
I'd choke him.
One night he didn't get any.
I'd be hangry now. Very hangry.
Now, last night he got 4, which they were really happy with and good. But, like, look, he's facing all his fears. Like, he's trying his best. That's
He
all
had his
he can
eyes
go
closed.
for.
If he'd opened his eyes, he would have
But
seen
he's
that it was guts that came in behind him, fish guts.
I don't
and
think he would have.
carried
I
on.
don't think he would have seen them. No,
like,
like he
there's-
should have let them tell him.
Yeah.
For the fish guts one.
There's no way in hell I'd put my head in that box and open my mouth. Like, that just looks absolutely horrendous.
I agree. I had to do a bush sugar trial in here last week and I refused to do it because I was blindfolded. It's
Yeah.
terrifying.
But he had the option to open his eyes last night. You know, he had goggles on. He could have opened his eyes and he would have seen that if he was to push the star underneath, he would have got it over the obstacles and would have got another.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Now, 4 stars for 10 people is not bad. It's not a bad start.
As the 2 lads said, they gave him a bubble bath for getting 4 stars. What will happen? What will they give him if he comes back with 10?
I don't think we have to worry about that, Martin. I just don't see it happening. I really don't. Now, tonight you've got Danny, Dean, and then Maura and Richard are going to join in the task as well.
Oh,
so
are
it's going to
they?
be a good one. Yeah.
Oh, I will be
Yeah.
sat for that one now. That's going to be great. And hopefully Dean will do us proud tonight.
No, I know in the past some of the series have disappointed, but this is on fire so far.
Brilliant. There's great little double acts. We're getting these beautiful moments from people as well. So you're seeing the likes of Colleen talk about, she talked last night about Wayne's affairs and how the public reacted to that. Shane opening, or, you know, Barry McGuigan opening up. And Danny Jones
Yes,
opening up about his mental health.
yes,
We're getting these lovely snippets of conversation. An interesting thing that will come out this week is that Maura Higgins used to go out with Barry McGuigan's son.
Shame.
So cannot wait.
That'll be
for
interesting.
this.
We'll have to keep up with that.
How
Thank you
will he
so much
react
for
to
coming
it,
in with
yeah.
us, Cassie. That'll be on tonight.
A reminder that you can catch I'm a Celeb nightly from 9 p.m. on Virgin Media 1. It's also available to stream on Virgin Media Play.
Yeah, we'll take a quick break now, but still to come, we've got Curry in the Kitchen, a host of hunks in the form of the Dreamboys, and a sneak peek at a little film. Is it Wicked, is it called? Something
Wicked
like
or
that.
Ticket or
You might have heard of
Ticket or
it. Yeah, we'll
Clicked
see you in
or-
a few.
Yes, good morning. Don't forget, if you're running out the door to work, you can stream us live on our website. Just bring headphones so you aren't annoying everyone else on the train.
Yes.
Although they might want to watch with you, but they'll be all over your shoulder then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no one wants to hear
Personal
loud
space.
music in the train. Anyway,
But they might want to hear us. You're watching Ireland AM, folks.
Still to come, we learn why 1.2 million people in Lebanon were forced to flee their homes and speak to one of the many trying to help them.
At the Catwalk today, we're taking inspiration from the festive season that looks that will take you from a 12 pubs to an office party to your turkey dinner. We have a full capsule collection coming up.
Oh, you could do the whole lot in the one outfit over the one day.
Please God.
Okay. You might have heard about a little indie film. It's coming to cinemas today. It goes by the name of Wicked. But does it live up to the hype? We've an expert panel donning their pinks and greens to find out.
Elaine wore her pink.
I did, and I had a green coat on this morning.
You did, honestly.
I might show it to you later. Anyway, he has described his new novel as difficult and emotionally draining to write. Best-selling author John Boyne will be with us later.
And we're kickstarting your weekend in style with a host of hunks ready to make your Friday that bit raunchier. The cast of the Dreamboys will be here. We're not looking forward to that at all.
No.
For some reason, they didn't put me on that item. I have no idea why.
They wanted
whatsoever.
to
I think
it.
there was something about a protection order or something that the boys put in place. Or
Behave yourself,
Yeah,
Martin
yeah.
King. I'm delightful I am.
Anyway.
Lots of texts flying in this morning as well about the Christmas stories.
Yeah, your favourite Christmas memories.
Yeah.
We looked for it. Yeah.
Rona says, Christmas of 1995, there was a storm and the power was out on Christmas Day. We were lucky enough to have a gas cooker and a hob and a solid fuel cooker that wasn't connected to the radiator system. Our neighbours in our village, 5 other families were not as lucky as us. We sent out word to them to come to our house for the dinner. I got busy stretching out all the food, increasing the size of the table when I realised all families accepted our offer. They came with loads of goodies, booze and cheer. Our kids had the best day ever. We enjoyed the day. The fun was amazing and we still talk about that Christmas best ever.
So we were talking about Christmas ads last week. That sounds like an ad.
Yeah.
Doesn't it? All the families in the village getting together for one big dinner.
There's creators right now saying DVR for these
Yeah, yeah,
The electricity went out last Christmas in our place at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, the first time I stayed in Dublin ever for Christmas, actually.
Oh, no.
But I was kind of lucky because I could have dinner and they couldn't down there.
And then a text in from Roisin. She said, I was cooking the turkey and a fork went missing. I searched everywhere for it. It was in the oven with the turkey.
Ouch.
The handle melted into a hook shape and I've been forced to hang it on my Christmas tree for 20 years by my family to remind them that I blamed them for the missing, or to remind me that I blamed them for the missing fork.
Hope it wasn't in the turkey.
Yeah.
I love that they hang it on the tree every year.
Yeah. Did the turkey taste of plastic then?
I'm assuming it was metal.
I don't know. I doubt it. But no, not unless it was iron. The plastic,
The plastic would just melt in
melt into the shape of a...
Yeah.
Roisin, was it plastic or metal? I want to know. We
Let
want
us
to know.
know. But keep those messages coming to us about your festive memories. You can get us at 0896 111 111.
Now we'll have another look at your morning paper, starting with the Irish Times. Its headline reads, Harris rejects coalition with the Left Alliance. The paper writes that Fine Gael leader Simon Harris has rejected the idea that a left-wing alliance of more than one party could join a coalition government with his party and Fianna Fáil after next week's general election.
The front page of the Irish Independent opens with 90,000 mortgage customers overcharged interest on loans. It writes that tens of thousands of homeowners who originally took out their mortgages with Ulster Bank will be compensated after a blunder meant they were overcharged interest.
Moving over to the Irish Examiner, which goes with coroner calls for key barriers in Cork. It reports that 13 people have driven into water at Kennedy Quay since 2018, with the Cork City coroner appealing for barriers to be erected.
On to the tabloids, and the Daily Mail's headline reads, Diplomatic mission to woo Trump. It writes that Ireland is to embark on a diplomatic mission to woo Donald Trump in a bid to avoid the introduction of tariffs between the US and the EU.
The Herald opens with a gym owner loses compo for deadlift. The paper writes that a personal trainer who turned down a $15,000 settlement offer after he was trapped in an elevator has instead been awarded $10,000.
The Mirror leads with Ireland on Storm Bert. The paper reports that Ireland has been warned to brace for gales, heavy downpours and possible flooding when Storm Bert rolls in from the Atlantic tonight.
The Star also covers Storm Bert with the headline Bertie Astern. It reports that the second named storm of the season is expected to make landfall today, bringing powerful winds and heavy rain across the entire country.
And finally, the Sun also leads with the incoming storm. Their headline reads Bert Alert.
Now, Virgin Media is turning Black Friday red, and we've teamed up with Virgin Media Broadband to give away an amazing prize package.
Every day this week, you've got the chance to win a 4K smart TV, an Xbox Series S console and a Samsung Galaxy S24 phone.
From quirky traditions to cringy matching pyjamas, today we want to hear your festive family stories. And lots of you are actually getting in touch. We've some great stories here this morning. I have to say, this one, my heart dropped when I read it first from Pauline Mullins. Hi, when we were kids, our biggest disaster was that we wrote our letters to Santa and Mam said she had posted them for us. But on Christmas Eve, my sister picked up the Evening Press newspaper and 3 letters addressed to the big man fell out on the floor. Dun, dun, dun. Well,
merciful hour.
There were tears and anguish and terrible worry, but Dad to the rescue. He sent them up the chimney, and would you believe that Santa actually brought everything? It was magic.
You see, it must have been a dodgy postbox.
Yeah.
They magic their way back into the
And if they ever get lost, you can just send them up the chimney and all as well.
Yeah. Or even if Santa gets a delayed letter, I think he still pulls through them, doesn't he? He does.
Listen, this man, Father Time gives him the gift of time.
We've also had there's a few turkey disasters actually this morning as well, quite a few of them. Sabrina says, Christmas 2009, a very cold Christmas temperature, were minus 12 degrees centigrade. My parents stupidly left the turkey in the car all night long. The turkey was still frozen on Christmas Day. My brother had to drive 6 kilometres with very bad road conditions to share our turkey, which was prepared the night before, like all households on Christmas Eve.
With a little dig at the end, like all households should do on Christmas Eve.
A lot of people have a tickler or two on Christmas Eve, and it's easy to forget the turkey in the car.
I suppose it could happen to anyone. Don't do it this year, folks. Thank you so much for all your texts. Yes.
Yeah, please.
Now, there is still time to enter. Share your story along with your name and address to irelandamcomp@virginmedia.ie, and best of luck.
Up next, we speak to one of the many people hoping to bring humanitarian aid to the 1.3 million people displaced in Lebanon. See you for that in 3.
Welcome back. On September 23rd of this year, a wave of Israeli airstrikes struck southern and eastern Lebanon. This attack and the ones that have followed have taken over 3,000 lives and left over 1.3 million people displaced, with many forced to flee their homes with nothing but the clothes on their back.
Joining us now is the Lebanon Programme Director of Concern, Chris Connolly, who is one of the many people hoping to bring humanitarian aid to the people of Lebanon. Chris, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We really appreciate it. I know it's very difficult times where you are situated at the moment, but I suppose for anyone who's unaware of what's going on in Lebanon at the moment, we've all heard of, I suppose, what's going on in Gaza has really dominated the news, but explain to us how and why Lebanon has been impacted by the conflict in the Middle East.
Good morning, Martin. Good morning, Elaine. Thanks very much for having me here. It's great to come on to share the situation of what's going on in Lebanon. Lebanon has had low-level conflict since October of 2023, but in the last 2 months, we've really seen a huge escalation, as you've outlined. Since that time, over 3,000 people have been killed in the airstrikes, 13,000 people injured, and we've seen this mass displacement. So even in a couple of days after the initial strikes, we saw hundreds of thousands of people moving from the south up to the center and the north. And since that time, that number's grown to over 1.3 million. So people are being housed in temporary accommodations. Schools have been converted into collective shelters to house families displaced. And then people are seeking shelter where they can. It's very challenging times for people here. I mean, everyone has a family member or someone they know who's been affected, who's been displaced. The population of Lebanon is only 4 or 5 million people. And already they were struggling with huge numbers of refugees from the Syrian crisis. So around 1.7 million Syrian refugees. But now imagine the population, 1.3 million on the move, and all happening in the space of a few weeks' time has really been extraordinary and incredible. I've never seen such a huge displacement of people in such a short period of time, and the stress on the country is really incredible. Amidst all of that, the airstrikes are still ongoing. So every day we're having 50 to 80 airstrikes across the country, particular hotspots in the south and in the east of the country, but also in the southern suburbs of Beirut is really being hit hard. So we're seeing numbers of people displaced from within Beirut. We do see people camping on the streets, with families living out of their cars, doing whatever they can to survive. It's particularly tough. As Martin mentioned, people may have got evacuation notices at short notice and had to leave with carrying just very, very few items that they could manage to pick up and carry. So that means that their livelihoods, their sources of income, their ability to cope with this situation has really been hampered. So we do really need increased support and funding to be able to continue to provide support to those families who have been displaced. I mean, just to thank the Irish population, I think that there's been really generous donations that have come through to the various appeals, and that really has enabled some great work to be done in the country. Distribution of mattresses and bedding, distribution of heating equipment, distribution of hot meals and food, hygiene and sanitation kits to ensure that people living in those collective shelters do have good sanitation contexts. There's been rehabilitation works done on the schools to ensure their safety, security, and privacy for the people who've been displaced. But there's still a lot more to do with that huge number of people who have been displaced on the move. Looking ahead, we are seeing the winter months coming, so I think that's going to provide a whole range of new challenges in terms of the heating and temperature situations in those shelters, but also looking at the health context and access to clean water and so forth moving forward.
Prior to September and the Israeli-Hezbollah conflict going on in southern Lebanon, the Lebanese were in a crisis situation anyway, and that was down to their economy.
Yeah, it's been a tough few years for Lebanon. In 2019, we saw an economic crisis. The currency was devalued around 90%. So people lost their life savings, their investments, they're reduced back to scratch, and then having to start to rebuild from that point. In 2020, obviously, we had COVID as the rest of the world, but also there was the Beirut blast. So in the heart of the capital, a really significant impact there, huge areas destroyed and buildings needing to be rebuilt and reestablished. Amidst all that, since 2013, Lebanon's also been hosting the highest percentage per capita of refugees in the world, so the 1.7 million Syrian refugees. And for those people, I mean, they came here seeking safe haven, but they've also been part of the displaced from the south. We've even seen huge numbers of people returning to Syria, crossing the border, around 400,000, 300,000 Syrians and 100,000 Lebanese, actually returning to Syria to seek safe refuge there from the airstrikes happening in the south and the east of the country. So really extraordinary times. Every week seems to bring another event that's been unexpected, and the situation is just continuing. The uncertainty, I think, is really what's hanging over people's heads, the levels of tension and anxiety, the huge impacts, I think, on the people who've been displaced, but the children that they're traveling with also living in really uncertain times. Schools have been shut down and converted into collective shelters for the displaced people. So it does mean that the kids really don't have any certainty, regular life going on.
Yeah, when we look at the situation at the moment, concern is there to provide practical help. And I suppose the most practical thing that you have been doing at the moment is in terms of feeding the population there and providing decent hot meals for those who have been displaced. And you've partnered up with another organisation there, I believe.
Yeah, we have had really generous funding coming from Ireland, and that's largely thanks to the Irish population. So it's a huge credit, I think, to the generosity of people in Ireland. So we've received funding and working with local partners to distribute hot meals. So community kitchens have been set up, and they're cooking and preparing meals on a daily basis, and then transporting those to the collective shelters. We're working with local partners, Nusaned, Movement Social, Le Corval and Shield to do some of that work, which is, it's a really critical and important thing in this uncertain time to be providing that support. We're also distributing winterization kits, so heaters and gas bottles for people to be able to heat their own shelters. And as the temperatures drop over the coming months, I think that's also going to be a critical intervention and provision of blankets and so forth. And then even basic things like soaps and cleaning items for people to be able to improve their personal hygiene and situations. So the hot meals, I think, yes, really bringing people together. And it's amazing also to see the displaced people themselves pitching in, being part of the community kitchens, helping to prepare the meals to distribute to their own communities.
Very briefly before we let you go, I mean, the situation in the Middle East in general is quite grave now, even after the indictments yesterday for Netanyahu, his former defence minister, and of course the leader of Hamas, who is presumed dead. That doesn't seem to have stopped the continued bombing of the region. What is the feeling like where you are? Is there any hope for an end in sight?
Yeah, it's really uncertain times. I think people have been living now in months of airstrikes and just it's really unpredictable, I think, isn't it? So, I mean, from concern side, we're really just focusing on supporting people who are in need, the displaced people. People do have hope for peace, for calm. I mean, that's what everyone would like to see coming out of this situation. But in the meantime, I think it's just important to ensure that people's living situation is improved, and that we do try and minimize the impact on those families, particularly, the children. I think the psychological impacts on them will really be long lasting. So doing anything we can to assist them. Just to reduce the impacts that are going on. But it is, terrifying times. I think people in Lebanon, they're living under the threat of airstrikes. Even our own staff, I think it's hard for them to be continuing to do the humanitarian aid work that we're doing while they're also worrying and concerned about their own friends and family.
Chris, thank you so much for joining us on the show this morning.
Thanks very much. Enjoy the day.
To support Concerns Lebanon Emergency Appeal, donate at concern.net or phone 0818 211 844.
We'll take a quick break now. Lots more still to come. Stay with us. We're live until 10.
Fáilte Rat go Ireland AM. Now, today marks the 61st anniversary of the Kennedy assassination, which happened in Dallas on Friday, the 22nd of November in 1963. Still a lot of chat about it, though, isn't there?
And the conspiracy would just never end. The magic bullet, isn't that what they call it?
Is it?
The one that travelled all over the car, claiming that it bounced from place to place, although we've heard lots of other stories.
All the theories, the conspiracy theories,
And you know, Donald Trump promised during his campaign this year that he was going to declassify all of the documents. He promised it in his last campaign as well, but the FBI and CIA managed to convince him to keep some of them under wraps. So still not everything is known by the public. And like even this campaign, he was running with that, saying that he'd declassify it. People are still want to know that much.
He was in Ireland a short time before that assassination took place, and my mum was on a side street. I was an infant in a pram. And my mum was on a side street, and she was trying to get through town. And guard said to her, she asked, is this because of the president's visit? And he said, yeah. He said, but missus, if you just stand there, he has to drive by you to get onto the main street.
So you were yay close to JFK?
Oh, like literally, she got a wave because she was the only one on that particular street as the car drove by and then turned the corner and went into the crowds.
Yeah, so it's mad the way the whole town shuts down when
a visit like that. But
presidential visits. Remember Clinton, my God, there was CIA everywhere in the lead up to it. They were staying in hotels, making sure every manhole in the city was covered. It was mad stuff altogether. The festive season is upon us, and with that comes parties, pub crawls and get-togethers.
Oh my. So today, stylist Mandy Marr has brought us her favourite picks that will get you through every event you've got between now and the new year. Mandy, you're here to fix our Christmas wardrobes.
I sure am. Good morning, girls. And I've got great looks this morning because obviously we're in the season now. Parties are happening between office parties, meeting with the girls for lunch, or indeed also something for Christmas Day as well. So we've it all covered this morning.
Okay, great. Let's have a look.
So all of our looks today are from Carrickdone. As we know, there are nationwide, I think 42 stores nationwide, and of course online. Now for this particular look,
I need that coat.
Yeah, and you know what, Elaine, so do I. Isn't it beautiful?
Especially on a day like today.
Yeah, I just think this absolutely screams luxury for sure. And actually, I think a very Jackie O vibe as well of this coat. It's a real richness about it. I think you're definitely for sure going to make a statement, and it's beautiful. And you know, when you actually have it on you, because we tried it on earlier on this morning, and even like it's light, which is also important, that it's not over heavy, because you know sometimes people see a fur coat, they feel it's too heavy. It's not. It's actually beautiful. But I'm loving it. I just think it's classy, it's elegant, but in particular love the shade as well.
And let's talk about the dress then.
Underneath then we teamed it up with, as we know, the little black dress. Sure, we can never go wrong with it. And these are the new styles that they have in Carrickdone. But I like this particular style dress because that's kind of like a doll oversizing dress, which if you have a little bit of weight on, it's really forgiving. It's a great style dress for people that maybe might be a little bit conscious, particularly of the tummy area.
Especially if you're going out for a meal or a Christmas dinner.
For sure, Elaine. And also I like the sheer sleeve on this as well, because like a lot of people don't like to overexpose their arms either, and I just think the sheer on this is just really super elegant as well, and including with that beautiful lacing on the neckline to give that feminine look.
Yeah,
it's
and
nice,
then you've added
isn't
a pop of colour.
Yeah, we went with the bag then, because like that, Carrickdone have oodles of bags to choose from in various colours, but I loved the red with this. And obviously the time of year, we are at Christmas time. So there's no outfit completion if there's some little bit of red in it, but I'm loving this red. There is a chain inside obviously, so if you wanted to wear it with the chain, you can easily do it. So we wore it today as a clutch.
That's absolutely lovely. And I have to say, that whole look, you're kind of hitting all the spots there with a little bit of glamour with the dress, the warmth with the coat, with the lovely buttons, and of course a button detail picking up the buckle on the bag as well.
Yes, absolutely. And that's exactly it. And then even with the earrings, Elaine, we went with a simple drop earring, of course the classic pearl to make it very feminine looking, but again it just works. I think it's just a very classy, beautiful outfit.
It is, absolutely.
And now we're going with the Christmas Day look.
And exactly, and this is our Christmas Day look. People are gas really, like, do you wear red on Christmas Day or do you not? But sure, listen, I love red, and sure, Christmas Day is as it is. It's the season and it's festive season.
I don't get out of my red pyjamas on Christmas Day.
I know.
But if you want to get dressed, this is lovely.
Well, you're my kind of woman, is what I'm actually going to say right now, under the radar, really. But I love this because this is the cape coat, and again, like that is a little bit of the oversizing, but sure, the faux fur as well. Love it, and they have this in a few colours, but of course the black is really great because you can obviously wear it with a gorgeous black polo neck, a pair of jeans. There's lots of other ways you can wear this beautiful.
It's a nice staple.
Yeah,
there, really,
absolutely, it sure is.
And the dress, it's real Santa Claus red now, that isn't it?
It is, and it's a beautiful shade of red, and I'm loving it because it has the V neckline, it also has the 3/4 length sleeve, and of course this wonderful pleating as well. And again, like that, as I said, a lot of people often at times, if they're a little bit oversized, they're afraid of wearing pleating. You can wear pleating when it's the right material. It will work with your body.
See, the pleating with that, it goes from a very fine pleat and it goes wider as it goes down, so it gives the illusion of a smaller waist.
Absolutely, it sure does, and that's exactly what it's all about. It's about illusion, and it's a beautiful style dress, lovely 3/4 length as well.
And look at that cute little bag.
Isn't that gorgeous?
Doty.
That's a really cute bag, I think. I mean,
Thanks,
yeah,
Mandy.
I love it. I love the fact it's the sparkle, it's a gorgeous buckle on it, but again, like that, it also has a chain in the inside. So again, if you wanted to wear it over the shoulder or across the body, you could easily do so.
And the pearl details, of course, in the jewellery as well.
Exactly, and I'm loving the jewellery there from night and day, and a beautiful pearl. Again, like that, I always think there's something very elegant and classy about a pearl.
Yeah.
And of course, we've got the matching chain and earrings here.
Yeah, it's absolutely lovely. That's a nice, if you are wanting to get dollied up for your Christmas Day, that's a lovely look. Because a lot of people go visiting and stuff, visiting relatives and family and friends.
Yes, absolutely, they do. Yeah,
Ooh.
absolutely.
Now we're blinging it up for the Christmas party now.
We're hitting the town in this look. We can see it, and Lucy's definitely ready for it. But again, like that, this teddy faux fur coat, I love it. Love the colour, of course, as well. And a tip, I'll always give a styling tip, and the tip on the colour, people often dread. Us ladies, when you're wearing makeup, getting makeup on the collar of something like this, put a little bit of hairspray on the collar of that coat about a half an hour beforehand, and the makeup won't transfer.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's the best tip ever. So just to keep an eye on that.
Thank you very much for
there
that.
you go, because it's great for protecting, because people often find, oh, it's a beautiful coat, but then I'll get makeup all over it. You won't. If you put hairspray on it, it'll work. But it's a fun coat. Again, you can wear it casually if you want to, but it's the dress that steals the show, I think, also with this as well. Now, Lucy is 5'11". I'm mentioning that because the dress is a little bit shorter. Obviously, on most of us, it would be a lot longer. But it's party, it's fun, it's young, and it has gorgeous buttons, as we see, just running down the front as well.
Yeah, the velvet is lovely, and the little puff sleeves.
I know,
Yeah,
and the
it's not
darting.
over the top.
It almost reminds me of like a dress you'd wear when you were a child at Christmas, but like a grown-up version. It's so cute, isn't it?
Yeah, and I love the colour. I have to say, I love the shade of royal blue. It's really beautiful.
And that bag. Take a moment for the bling of the bag.
Absolutely, I love the bag, love the bling. These are pieces. When you're investing in pieces like this, you'll always have them. You'll pull that bag out in 20 years' time and it'll never date. And that's what I love about little pieces like that. And of course, it picks up with the detail on the buttons of the dress as well.
So that's our Christmas party look, which is absolutely lovely. And of course, we've taken up the tones of the earrings as well in the bag, and everything else in the buttons.
They're
the buttons
very pretty.
all tying in nicely, because I suppose, but the blue tones, silver is a kind of nicer alternative, isn't it?
I think so. I would prefer silver with that particular blue now than gold. I think it works really
and
well.
now we're dressed very Christmassy, but practical.
Well, this is for the 12 pubs, but this is how you look in the first pub. Oh,
This is
do the
definitely
12
how you look
pubs
at the pub.
anymore.
And the 12 pub, I'd love to see what it'll be
I'd
like.
be half dead by pub 4.
But and I love this because we do meet up with the girls quite a lot. We have a lot of ladies' luncheons catching up, and I think this is a great look for this. Gorgeous again, fun little jacket, faux fur. I love it, black. They have them in a few colours as well. And again, like that, you could easily wear this with a dress if you wanted to, but obviously today it's a little bit more dressed down.
And underneath that jacket, I can see the sparkle of bling. And it's staying, because it's nice to get away from the traditional red and green of Christmas. It's nice to go in these tones of navy.
I love this, and it's that kind of like a midnight blue shade. It's a wonderful shade. I think it's fabulous. Of course, it is sparkle. It's the time of year to wear sparkle.
Is it a knit?
It actually isn't. No, it's a sparkle top. No, it actually does give the illusion of it, though, Elaine. It does. But again, like that, I'm often asked, can you wear a sparkle during the daytime? You can wear a sparkle anytime. There's no rules with fashion anymore, folks. Get outside the box and live a little bit. So, of course, wear the sparkles during the day. And again, these great trousers. I love these. Great stretch. They're high-waisted. And away you go. And, of course, if you want to wear a pair of trainers and throw on an oversized jumper with these, again, off you
Can't go wrong with leather
pants. And this is the navy version of the red bag, but we've taken the chain out this time.
And that's exactly it, Elaine. Exactly, this is it in the navy, and the chain is out. And again, like that, it's a beautiful shade of navy, because it's often hard to get a nice colour navy, but I love this. And it works really well.
Yeah, and black and navy, because of the tones, it actually ties in, because I think sometimes if it's too dark, the navy's too dark, it just looks funny. But
I agree.
Perfect.
And you have a hint of the blue in the earring as well.
Yes, absolutely. We went there with a little bit of blue with the gold earring. And again, and what I like about the earrings as well is that they're statement, but they're light. Because again, like that, you don't want an over heavy earring either for comfort. But I hope we ticked all the boxes for you this morning, all from Carrick-Dunn. I think we're ready for the festive season.
We absolutely
Flying
are.
it now.
Yes.
I'm loving the 12 pubs of Christmas, God help us.
I
but
know.
anyway.
I'll see you there, Mandy. Thank you
won't,
so much.
you won't see me. I'd never get up on a bed again.
Thank you,
Thank you
Mandy.
both.
Thank you so
Now,
much.
it is set to be the event movie of the year, and we've got the inside scoop. Is Wicked worth the ticket price? Stay tuned to find out. Back in a few.
Look at that. Welcome back. The wait is over. After years in the making, the big screen adaptation of Wicked finally hits Irish cinema screens today. And we have a feeling it's going to be popular.
Very good. Do you know what? I was waiting for you to sing it, and you did. You did it.
I didn't let you down.
It's already. I'm not going to sing this because I
Hit
have
the high note.
respect
Go
for
on.
people's ears. It's already defying gravity. Whoa! And is setting pre-sale box offers records. And joining us now, straight from the Emerald City, to say if it's worth the hype, is our expert panel, including Padraig Wilson McCarthy and movie reviewers Olivia Fahy and Rory Cashin. Good morning, guys.
Yeah, but first, here's a look at what's getting people very excited.
Whoa!
You're gonna be popular. I'll show you what shoes to wear, how to fix your hair, everything that really counts to be
dancing through life, mindless and careless. Make sure you're wearless when you're dancing through life.
And I just had a vision, almost like a prophecy. What is this feeling? I got us tickets.
You coming?
Everyone will be there. Just you and I defying gravity. Think of what we could do.
All right.
I've
She's getting
goosebumps. I've
goosebumps. I haven't seen it yet.
Sunday. I'm going to see it on Sunday.
Okay. All right. So it's the hit we're expecting?
Yeah, do you know what it is? Like, I don't know if you know this about me, but I was a bit of a big thing on the Cork theatre scene back in the day, right? So, well, not really, but I did go into it knowing every single word, and I had high expectations, but at the same time I was a bit sceptical because musical adaptations, they don't usually do very well, I think anyway. I wasn't disappointed. I didn't have to be worried. I absolutely loved it from the minute it started to when it ended. And my attention span wouldn't be great, usually. And it is quite long. And that's what people are saying. It is quite long. And it's only the first half. But I could have sat down straight away and watched it again.
Really?
Yeah. I loved it.
Yeah, look, I haven't seen the musical, so I went in with open eyes in to watch it. It was spectacular. Yeah, and you can see that money is being put into it, but I just thought it was a bit long.
I knew the bullshit was coming.
I loved it. I thought it was a really great. I was a bit worried about the length, a bit like yourself, kind of like, why is it going to be that long? And in all honesty, having seen it now, it's like they haven't actually added much to it. It's more of a case of every scene and every song has kind of been a little bit elongated. It's a bit slowed down pace-wise, so it's not as punchy as the show itself, but I thought it actually worked well with what they were trying to do. So in that sense, I was like, okay, that box has been ticked. For me, I actually just thought that the use of CGI was a little bit overdone. Right. There was a couple of things where I was like, I really wish you'd just done that with a nice backdrop instead, or maybe use like a miniature kind of animation sort of style thing instead of the full CGI. So that would be my only critique. Otherwise, it is just beautiful.
Okay, great. I'm so excited. Rory, the press tour for this movie has been going on for what feels like forever. There's a lot of tears, there's a lot of cuddles, there's a lot of stuff happening. Is this going to be a smash hit? Is it going to be worth all of the hype?
I would say so.
Okay.
Yeah, I was the same as you, Martin. I'd never seen the stage show before. I was going in more or less blind. I was aware of Alphabet and Galinda and the characters in it, but I was kind of like, 2 hours 40, that's a lot for part one of a musical. But I was the same. I thought I found it very, very funny. I thought Ariana Grande was hilarious. And I was shocked at how funny she was. Cynthia Erivo really, really gets you on her side immediately. I would be surprised if there isn't sort of Oscar-y talk around the two of them.
For both of them?
I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe more Ariana, because she was more of a shoe-in for supporting, I would say, whereas Cynthia Erivo would probably put into leading actress, and I'm not sure how strong that category is this year. And then Jonathan Bailey. What a hunk.
Oh my God.
What a beautiful man.
Down boy.
I know. And I think fans are going to be so surprised at just how talented he is, because he does most of those moves in Dancing Through Life. Like, he's doing flips, he's doing tricks, he's doing it all. Like, it's quite spectacular.
Anything to add on Jonathan Bailey, Padraig?
Just top tier. Top tier. Yeah, can't wait for part 2.
No, I have to say, I did have a couple of laugh out loud moments because Ariana Grande's delivery and timing of her lines was spot on. I would imagine that listen, she's a singer, so she's involved in music, so she would be right across that timing.
She is, but like also I think because of the comedic timing, like we're not used to seeing her in that sort of way, aside from like maybe a few SNL appearances. And there's one moment where like it's a very famous Galinda line is when she's just like, oh my God, I didn't get my own way. But then they add on an extra little bit to that actually had me on the floor. It was done so funnily. So yeah, for me, I just thought that I was really, really impressed by her.
But she's been looking for this gig for years.
Yeah. I think it's difficult as well when you've got someone like Ariana Grande, right, who you know as a singer and you know her outside of that. When you see someone like that, it's hard to take her out of the character, but she does it so well. And like she kind of, I thought, plays homage to Kristen Chenoweth, who was the original Galinda back in the day. She kind of set the standard, and she does a lot of her like mannerisms and stuff as well, which I think is nice actually, because it works really well in the first place, but also it's kind of a tribute in a way too. Like, she didn't change it too much because it didn't need to be, you know?
So they've been quite coy in the marketing that this is part 1 of 2. They haven't really said that too loudly. I've seen the stage show, and you're grand once the first half ends because you know you're coming back in 15 minutes for part 2. Is there a satisfying ending to this part, Rory?
I think, do you know what? And it's people out there are going to lose their minds when I make this comparison. It reminded me of the end of the first Lord of the Rings, where it ends and you're like, that was good, and I'm happy I've seen it, but I am excited to see this again this time next year, because that's exactly what Lord of the Rings did. They ended November, December, and they had Two Towers the very next Christmas. And if everything stays on schedule, that's their plan for part 2.
Okay.
And it does end in a way where you are happy with that self-contained story, but it does leave the door open for what's to come.
Are we looking at two worlds colliding here now that you've compared Lord of the Rings with...
Gosh, I hope not.
I mean, Middle Earth, Emerald City, we can have a crossover episode.
Yeah.
Is this a case, Padraig, where the Wicked Witch of the West just needs a better press agent?
I don't know, to be honest. I think they're doing quite well. I think the whole promo trail has been really interesting to watch, actually. I think people are just as invested in that because there's always been this thing behind the scenes where people don't know whether Ariana and Cynthia were getting on, and now they're so touchy and lovey and feely and stuff like that. Yeah. It's interesting to watch how they're playing it out, actually. I think that's equally as interesting as the movie, in a way.
It's almost more interesting than the movie. Like, what is going on? Like, there's something in the air in those press interviews.
Like, they seem to be the best of friends, and they've said that they had like long conversations that went on for like days before they got together on set, and like they really bonded, and I don't know whether they're sharing trauma or what, but they're absolutely obsessed with each other. It seems anyway, do you know?
Let's talk about Defying Gravity. How did Cynthia do delivering that? It's an iconic song, probably one of the most difficult songs to sing. How did she do?
I thought she did a spectacular job. Like, she, for me, I've loved her since she appeared in Bad Times at the El Royale. She famously was also in the X Factor, the musical I Can't Sing, like way back in the day. And so for me, it's like she's been someone that I've been kind of keeping my eye on. So to see her get this opportunity when she was announced, I was like, bingo, that's someone who you have the confidence that they're going to be able to do it justice. And she had her own kind of little flair to it. So people who are so used to hearing Idina Menzel's version of it, they might be kind of a bit like, oh, okay, like that's a little flair I wasn't sort of expecting. But she just makes it work. And I just thought she was great. Like, and I think she's more of a shoe-in for a nomination actually than Ariana, because I think everybody knows that like you have to get it right for Elphaba, and that for me, I thought she just did great.
Okay.
Wow.
There are a couple of surprises during the movie. You've just mentioned one of them.
I almost don't want to, like, my date for the evening, her body, she rocked out of her chair when some of the surprises happened on screen.
There are some
like,
surprises.
She lost her mind. So, like, if you're a fan of Wicked, there's some stuff in this, and
an eye out for the Easter
you're
eggs.
liable to lose your mind.
Oh my goodness, this has me so excited. I literally have my tickets booked for Sunday. I'm buzzing. Favourite song of this part of the
this
musical?
part, I think for me, going into it, it would have been Defying Gravity, but I loved The Wizard and I.
Yes,
Yeah, I
great
loved
choice.
that one. I thought it was a great one.
Yourself, Olivia?
Oh, what is this feeling? I thought it was done really, really well, because I was kind of curious how they were going to execute it compared to how the stage show does it. So for me, I thought it was really, really clever the way they did it, and the little like boo at the end. I cackled myself.
Hey, and Rory?
I think popular, because Ariana Grande's physical comedy throughout that number was impeccable.
I love there's all three different answers. Have you a favourite one?
Well, I was being introduced to the songs for the first time the other night. So,
all of them.
Yeah, all of them. So,
Politician's answer.
Let's
very
do it.
diplomatic of
I'm
you.
just fascinated just to see, you know, the Wicked Witch of the West's sister in the original movie. Is that going to be, without saying too much?
Yeah, okay.
Have we already
Yeah,
seen
you have
her?
to
You'll have to go back and see.
You have to wait now.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for coming in and chatting all things Wicked.
Thank you.
A reminder that you can see Wicked in cinemas across Ireland from today, if you can get a ticket.
If you can, exactly. Now, still to come, guys, the Dreamboys will be here. Stay with us. We're sexying up your Friday morning until 10. And that's just Martin.
Good morning. It's coming up on 9 o'clock. You're tuned into Ireland AM. It is Friday, the 22nd of November.
Still to come, author John Boyne has described his new book as the most difficult and emotionally draining of his career. We'll be hearing from the man behind the mega-selling novel, The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas.
In the kitchen, we're serving up the perfect Friday night fakeaway, perfect for the vegetarian in your life.
And Shiva's been joined by a few of my new colleagues.
Really?
Apparently so, yeah.
Really, your new colleagues?
My new
Do you
colleagues.
prefer them to me?
Absolutely no.
Shiva.
Well, guys, sometimes a girl just springs out of bed ready for work, and today was just one of those days. We're joined by the cast of the Dreamboys. Jordan, what are the Dreamboys?
Well, the Dreamboys are one of the best UK, how can we say this at this time in the morning? Dance troupes.
Okay.
Shall we say?
Great. And you're teaching Martin a few of your dance tricks today.
Oh, we are. We're putting him through his paces to hopefully see if he can become one of the Dreamboys and join us.
Okay, so it's an audition, really.
It's an audition this morning for Martin.
And I'm going to ask you, on a scale of 1 to 10, how nervous should Martin be?
11.
I mean...
Wow.
How's that, Martin? How's that sound?
I just hope you brought your sparkly thong.
That was what I forgot. Sorry. Really, really sorry. The boys, they're bringing the six packs. Ladies, get ready for the cake.
Now let's have a look at your morning paper, starting with the Irish Times. Its headline reads, Harris rejects coalition with the Left Alliance. The paper writes that Fine Gael leader Simon Harris has rejected the idea that left-wing alliance of more than one party could join a coalition government with his party and Fianna Fáil after next week's general election.
The front page of the Irish Independent opens with 90,000 mortgage customers overcharged interest on loans. It writes that tens of thousands of homeowners who originally took out their mortgages with Ulster Bank will be compensated after a blunder meant they were overcharged interest.
Over to the Irish Examiner, which goes with coroner calls for key barriers in Cork. It reports that 13 people have driven into water at Kennedy Quay since 2018, with the Cork City coroner appealing for barriers to be erected.
On to the tabloids, and the Daily Mail's headline reads, Diplomatic mission to woo Trump. It writes that Ireland is to embark on a diplomatic mission to woo Donald Trump in a bid to avoid the introduction of tariffs between the US and the EU.
The Herald opens with gym owner loses compo for deadlift. The paper writes that a personal trainer who turned down a $15,000 settlement offer after he was trapped in an elevator has instead been awarded $10,000.
The Mirror leads with Ireland on Storm Bert. The paper reports that Ireland has been warned to brace for gales, heavy downpours and possible flooding when Storm Bert rolls in from the Atlantic tonight.
The Star also covers Storm Bert with the headline Bertie Stern. It reports that the second named storm of the season is expected to make landfall today, bringing powerful winds and heavy rain across the entire country.
And finally, the Sun also leads with the incoming storm. Their headline reads, Bert Alert.
Sorry, Bertie Stern will always make me laugh. Okay.
Great headline.
Great headline. We've had texts come in all morning as part of Virgin Media's Red Friday competition asking about your favourite Christmas memories. Michelle texts in, Christmas Eve 1982, my cousin and I were left home alone while our parents went to the pub, which was literally next door. We decided to open a present while they were gone, a set of walkie-talkies. We had a great few minutes talking into them, telling each other that we mustn't get caught because our parents would kill us. The pub next door had a small portable television at the bar counter with a clothes hanger for an aerial. All our conversations are being transmitted into the pub via the aerial. Needless to say, we did get caught.
Serves you right.
Oh, there's that in the baby monitors. Anyone ever get caught on a baby monitor?
I know, but sometimes you'll deliberately say something because you know somebody's downstairs listening.
Or sometimes you don't and you forget.
Yeah, yeah.
And Mary O'Sullivan said, before Christmas, my brother's wife brought a live turkey from Cavan. That's her mother reared them. So it was in a linen potato sack with its legs tied. I was about 10 years old, so I was feeding it bread and water. I happily went off to school looking forward to seeing my new friend on the way home. Alas, he was hanging up by his legs in the small back kitchen. I was devastated.
Yeah, but did it taste good?
Oh, stop.
Come here. I went when you remember the morning show?
Yeah.
We went off.
Will I ever forget?
We were making a program called Christmas Helpers, and we went to a turkey farm where the people who ran the turkey farm were playing Christmas music to the turkeys late at night.
One of my jobs in college was actually cutting the legs and the wings off turkeys. My dad arranged the job for me, but see, I was a really bad waitress, so I refused to do waitress jobs because I kept getting orders wrong and mixed up. He thought I was just stuck up, like I was happily in the kitchen doing like dishes and stuff like that, but I just kept dropping. I was terrible anyway. So he thought, oh, she's got notions. She won't do that. And I did. He said, that's what you're doing now to get your Christmas money when I was in college. That's fine. So I went over. So the lads in the butchers across the road didn't think I'd actually do it either. So I was 40 turkeys deep before they told me it was a joke. 40 turkeys I did, 40 of them. There's photographic evidence, I'll have you know of it. Anyway, can I win this red prize
that
myself?
Was a good one. That was a good
there
one.
You go now.
That's very, very good. Do we have time for one more? Because we...
Yeah, go
okay. Tracy Highland says, one of my greatest memories from Christmas is my husband had been trying and I had been trying for our second baby. We had a number of miscarriages and we were devastated. Finally, we found out that we were expecting and decided not to tell family until Christmas. Everyone that was there were so happy for us. They said the material presents didn't mean half as much. I still get very emotional talking about this, but thankfully, he's 27 now and has his own little family.
That's gorgeous. That's beautiful.
Keep them coming to us.
Do, please.
Now, there's still time to enter, of course. Share your story along with your name and address to irelandamcomp@virginmedia.ie. We'll announce the winner at the end of the show.
Now, after the break, he's the man behind several best-selling novels, including The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas. Author John Boyne will be here in just a few minutes. Welcome back. He is one of the biggest selling Irish novelists of all time, with his book The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas selling 12 million copies and getting a silver screen adaptation.
His new book, Fire, is the third in a series of novellas tackling the difficult subject of child abuse. John Boyne, you are very welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us. We just mentioned there you're at the tail end of a very busy book tour.
Yes, just got back from 10 days in the UK, so readings every night and media and stuff, so...
Oh, go
for Christmas.
So you're the last television. We're the last television interview you have.
Yes.
Now,
saving the best for last.
Oh,
well, thank you for that.
You say all the right things. Now, when it comes to your new novella, Fire, it's the third in a 4-part series. They're not they're linked in some way, but not in another. So explain to us what people can expect from it.
It's 4 books that started last November. So every 6 months. Water was the first, then Earth, now Fire, and Air, the final one, is being published next May. And they're standalone novellas, but a minor character from each becomes the narrator of the next one. But they do have an overriding theme, which is sexual abuse. So the first book, Water, was narrated by somebody who has enabled it to happen. The second book, Earth, by somebody who is complicit in it. This book is by somebody who is the perpetrator. And the final one, Air, will be from the point of view of a victim. And then we're going to put all four together as one book called The Elements.
Okay. You have said that this one was emotionally draining for you to write.
I mean, it was very hard to be in the first-person narrative voice of somebody who's committing those kind of crimes. And it's actually a woman who's committing them. We've read a lot about men committing these crimes against children, but I decided to reverse that and look at because there is an awful lot of stories you read, actually, increasingly, about women in positions of authority who abuse young boys. So I wanted to explore that as well. But to keep that in your head for 9-10 months while writing the book, and still knowing I had one more novella to write, it does take you over a little bit. It's a 2.5-year project about this.
Okay, we're talking, look, I know it might be a bizarre link, but we're talking before the break about Wicked. But, in Fire, you're looking at what created the monster.
Yeah, yes, I am. In each of the books, when we look at people who've committed these crimes, but particularly in Fire, I'm going back to her childhood, the things that have happened to her. Now, they do say, of course, that obviously everybody who is abused does not become an abuser, but those who abuse have probably been abused. And I wanted to look at that. Now, that's no justification for anything.
There is a high correlation statistically, and we have to acknowledge that.
Yes, but we also make choices as adults to break that cycle, that I think we are responsible for our own actions. And in Freya's case, who's the narrator of this book, she has been unable to break that cycle. She looks at the trauma that she has gone through as a child and wants to revisit that upon boys who did that to her. So it is asking that nature or nurture question, but it is also challenging the reader to say, but that's no excuse. You don't get away with it by just saying, well, it happened to me.
Yeah. But when it comes to the way you write books, the way you get your ideas from, I know myself, I'm in tears reading a lot of them. It hits you in a very visceral place. What is it like for you writing it? I mean, trying to understand where your mind goes, and does it break your heart when you're writing it?
Well, I'm glad as a reader that you have that response, because I do want the reader to have an emotional response to my books. Me, I have to keep a certain distance as I'm writing, because I'm thinking about the language, the characters, the themes, the authenticity of the whole thing. So I'm not trying to either make myself laugh or cry or scared, depending on the theme of the book. I'm trying to look at it from a literary perspective and from an emotional perspective for the reader, and really trying to get the characters to go on the best journey I can get them to go on. But when a reader says that, that says to me that hopefully I've achieved what I set out to do.
Okay. When you're settling down to write a book, and this is a series of books about child abuse, are you able to switch off? Does a point come in the day when you say, right, I'm not working anymore, I'm going to relax now? Or does it just stay with you?
Only subconsciously, right? I can, when I step away from the computer, I can go about my normal day. I can read other books. I can do the laundry, all the stuff that you do in the normal day. But, if I go for a walk or something, I'll be listening to music. But I guess subconsciously, the book is always rattling around in my head. Even driving here today, I've started working on something else, and, just listening to the radio as I'm driving in, still it's sort of rattling around without intending to. But I think that's good. It kind of keeps me always focused on what I'm doing. I don't see it as a chore. I very much enjoy the job that I have.
When it comes to the Boyne the Striped Pyjamas, which is a massive success globally, it's in school curricula now. What do students and younger people ask you about that? Because I know you do quite a lot of speaking in the schools.
I only did one yesterday. I was in a school in Kilmacud yesterday talking to kids about striped pyjamas. They're very engaged with it. They come prepared with questions. They have researched the Holocaust themselves. The teachers have worked with them. Sometimes they've done art projects that they have on the walls, alternate endings, all sorts of things if my ending wasn't good enough. But no, I quite like that, because I get big packages from all around the world from schools where they'll do all that. And sometimes what I say to teachers is, what I love is the creativity that now happens in schools. I don't know about both of you, but when I was in school, I didn't feel that creativity was encouraged very much, and now it is. But they'll ask you anything. I have been asked, for example, Do I write about the Second World War so much because I fought in it? You know, and I obviously know I fought in the First World War. You know,
But it was a time of huge crisis. I mean, I suppose we're looking at the situation now globally. I mean, what happened then? There was genocide. Humanity seemed to be wrenched away from people. They had a distance from others, which is the only reason a Holocaust could happen, because people looked at other fellow human beings as less than animals in some way. So that's sort of
well, it is, yeah, because actually only about a month ago I was in Wesley College, which is quite close to where I live, and talking about these 4 books, these novellas. But there was a couple of Ukrainian students in the school who came up to get books signed, and I was asking them, you know, have you just come here in the last couple of years? And they were staying with families in the local area. And I guess for us here, you know, me sitting there as like an author signing a book, it becomes very real. You know, it's somebody who's been torn away from their own, I don't know, their grandparents, their friends that they've grown up in schools and are watching it on the news. And as happy as they are here, as welcome as they are here, as many friends as they've made here, I dare say they want to be back in their homes with their own families and friends. So none of those things change. You know, even though striped pajamas is set, 70 years ago, 80 years ago, we still see these things happening. And I don't think it's ever good. It's the history of the world. It's the nature of the world.
It's an never-ending loop of...
Yeah. Do you, like, and again, I'm going to make reference to something that is related to the Second World War. Do you have a favourite from the books that you have written, or am I asking you yourself?
I do. It wouldn't be one of those. It's The Heart's Invisible Furies. Yeah. That's the one that I'm most proud of. I think
Shiva actually was talking about that earlier on, actually.
It's the one that combines, I think, comedy and tragedy and drama. It's actually the book people talk to me most about.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is life. And it's the one they talk to me about it more than striped pajamas these days. That's the one that, and I find even, like, say, on the book tour recently, if I mention it, you know, on an evening with an audience, there's always kind of a ripple of, we like that one, you know. I'm very proud of that one. That was a good one.
So is there any genre you haven't touched at this stage that you want to do? Because you've had a very broad stroke, really, with your...
Do you know what I'd love to do, which I've never done, is I'd love to do a really good whodunit, like an Agatha Christie.
Really?
Yeah, I've never done that. I've done, like, ghost stories, historical novels, children's books, picture books, comic novels, contemporary novels, but I've never done a whodunit. And I find, you know, I love Agatha Christie books, and every so often I guess I go back to them as a kind of comfort read. I have a big collection of them at home, actually, in my living room, the kind of facsimile hardback editions. So one day I'd like to do one of those. And you know those kind of movies that they've been making recently, Glass Onion and Knives Out?
Yes.
Where they get that big kind of cast of characters and it's a whodunit. I love those kind of things.
It's like Cluedo, but a movie.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, if the ideas run out, maybe I'll do a whodunit.
You must have it festering in the back of your head, though.
Maybe set on a morning chat show.
Yeah.
And,
oh my God, that's a great idea.
We've got all the presenters, the camera crew, the sound people, the chefs, and somebody gets murdered.
We all know who really would have done it. We all know in the crew who's most likely to go mad, don't we?
Maybe with the guests.
Done it.
I know, but that's quite interesting. If that's the route you'd like to go. That'd be kind of cool.
It would be fun to do that.
And do you think...
Because Richard Osman has done so well with those Thursday Murder Club.
I mean, my God, it's huge. And of course, a screen adaptation. Any more of yours maybe adapted for this?
4 or 5 that are in various stages.
Yeah.
But I always say, you know, like I'll get a call every so often, and it genuinely sounds like we're going to start shooting on Tuesday, and then you don't hear from them for another year. So I always say, until I'm in a cinema with the curtains opening and popcorn in my hand, there's no point sort of stressing about these things.
Yeah, you don't think it's going to happen?
I don't know. Every so often they renew the options and they pay me for it. And I always say, if you want to pay me not to make it, that's fine.
Yeah.
But,
so are you doing any signings today, or have you wrapped up
I am
all that
doing
sort of stuff?
the craft fair in the RDS on Sunday, December 8th. I think.
Okay.
I'll be there that morning doing signings. If anybody wants to get some books for Christmas presents, and of course there's all the wonderful Christmas presents you can get at the craft fair.
It's great to get a book for Christmas.
Yeah, so that I think is the last thing I'm going to be doing.
Okay, and then you're kicking back and getting into Christmas.
Getting into Christmas, and then getting on a plane to New Zealand and Australia to expose this pasty white Irish body to the beautiful people of Bondi.
Oh, sunshine.
Sorry.
They have a lot to look forward to.
Didn't want to make you feel envious there.
Oh, well, you've just done it there, John. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today. It's been a pleasure.
Best of luck.
And of course, the next instalment is out in April, isn't it? The 4th of
May, and then the whole thing in September.
Okay, excellent. Now,
okay, a reminder that John Boyne's new book, Fire, is in all good bookshops.
Now, if you've been affected by anything discussed in this conversation, you can visit virginmediatelevision.ie/helplines for support.
We'll take a quick break, but there's lots more still to come, and we know what you're hanging around to see. The Dreamboys will be with us very soon.
You'll be one of them. Friday takeaways are a favourite, but from any. But today we've one for the veggies. That would be you.
My people. And Carlos Meyer from Nut Butter is here to make us his very popular Penang curry. Good morning, Carlos.
Hi, thanks for having me again.
No
It's an absolute pleasure.
Great to see you.
So we have our bowls warming here in front of us now. So, but tell us, what makes a Penang curry different?
It's just more aromatic. It's like a hug. So
hug.
for all these cold days,
Yeah.
that's what you need.
A hug in a bowl.
Hug in a bowl. Yeah.
Okay, great. So how do we start?
So I started here sauteing onions and garlic. So at home you do it like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Then you will add all your aromatics. So what we have here is ginger, cardamom, lemongrass, lime leaf. So that will add a bit of
Lime leaf?
lime leaves. That will add a bit of citrusy, and then galangal, which is from the ginger family.
Okay.
So what this does is that it keeps you warm. When it's hot, it keeps you warm. So if you want to cool down your body, you drink it cold.
Okay.
And then when it's that you want to warm up your body, you can have it on a tea or you can have it on a dish.
Some nice warming ingredients there.
So ginger has the same properties.
Yeah.
So it warms you up.
Yeah.
So we'll throw that in there.
Okay.
Increase a bit of our fire.
Oh God, I can only imagine the smell of a kitchen with how
And then-
aromatic that is.
At home, you can leave it a bit longer, obviously, for television time. I'm going to speed it up. But then we'll have our spice mix. So what we have is turmeric. Again, all these are warming ingredients. So we have turmeric, we have chili powder, coriander, cumin, black pepper, salt, and
Really, really lovely, rich ingredients. So I come tasting it here.
Yeah, we're tasting it early
Sorry,
today.
we're cheating. We're going early.
We are.
Yeah.
So, and so you make this is from scratch then? And
This
we
is
do
from
all
the
this.
scratch,
So
yes.
how long, if you were at home, how long should you sweat all those ingredients together?
I say around 10 minutes all total.
Okay,
So,
10 minutes total. Right.
10 minutes total, yeah. So the idea is that the slower you cook them in the temperature, and then the longer you cook them in time, they will release more aroma. All that aroma will transform into more flavor.
Perfect.
So that's what you want. And then when you're cooking the spices, don't speed it up. Some people get afraid. They increase the fire too high, and then they stick on the bottom, and they get afraid of it.
Yeah.
That's all right. So you just need to keep moving, keep stirring, and then all that flavor will come out once we add the coconut milk.
Oh,
Okay.
So what we have here is 800 ml of coconut milk. This is from the can. This is canned coconut milk.
Okay, good. Good
so
to know.
it's different than
We don't have to milk around coconuts.
different than the barista style. So again, you just cook it there. At home, you can play with it. You can add different spices if you don't have these ones. I say the most important one will be turmeric.
Okay.
But then the rest you can sop.
Turmeric probably gives it that lovely colour as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's a great anti-inflammatory. It's so healthy, so good for you.
Yeah,
It
it
tastes
is.
this as well. God, it's delicious.
And then you add the black pepper to activate it. So
Oh, so you need the black pepper.
you need black pepper always when you're using turmeric. Add
Okay.
a tiny bit of black pepper, yeah. Even if you get the pills, I don't know, nowadays people are supplementing turmeric.
Yeah.
It's better if it has pepperine, so it activates.
Really? God,
Yeah.
you learn something new every day.
There you go, Elaine.
Yeah. So we learn something new every day.
We do. Always the education here.
Okay, what's next, Carlos?
So I'll add a tiny bit of brown sugar. It's just to reduce that kind of sour taste from all the spices.
You okay there? You're completely making a mess of yourself. Sorry, it's
I'm
sloppy.
dribbling. I'm literally dribbling. Sorry.
How do you find it?
Oh, it's absolutely delicious.
This is lovely. We can't wait.
And
The
it's not
smells
it's
are
not too
gorgeous.
spicy, you know? I wouldn't mind that anyway, but like it's quite a creamy curry rather than spicy.
Yeah. And then we add nutritional yeast. This is very important for all the vegans and vegetarians. You know, like they have sometimes vitamin deficiency, but with nutritional yeast, it would add a bit of...
nutritional yeast.
Yeah.
It's important to have that
It
in
would
there.
add some more nutrients into it. And then I'll start adding the
Then your coconut milk goes in.
Coconut
Okay.
milk.
And was
That's the creaminess comes from there.
Is it 2 tins of coconut milk? you
This
put
is
in
two
there?
things. So the recipe will be enough for, I say, 8 people.
Wow.
Wow.
So
That is.
if you don't, you can keep it in the fridge for at least 4 days.
Okay, great. That's your whole week.
And
Your
then
week of meals done.
some people might even add potato chips to it.
Oh wow. Okay.
And can you freeze it? Or is it better just to leave it in the fridge?
The thing is when you freeze fiber,
Oh,
it kind of
it gets
disintegrates.
soggy, yeah.
So it's better not to freeze it, yeah. All right, so we leave it there for at least 5 minutes at home.
Okay.
And then what we'll add at this point is a bit of lime juice, just to bring up that citrusy there and freshness. And then we would be adding our corn flour.
So this is corn flour mixed with water already?
Yeah.
Okay. How much corn flour, how much water?
This was 1 tablespoon, so I say 20 grams, it was 282 grams of water.
Okay.
So more or less that's the relation.
This is absolutely delicious.
I know, it's so good.
Oh my God.
The recipe is on the website for anyone who wants to follow along, guys, as
Yeah.
well. See, this is such a treat. Normally we don't get to taste them until the end. That's why we're being so quiet, guys. Sorry.
So the corn flour will thicken it up.
It will thicken it up. So one thing that is very important with the corn flour is that you need to let it boil only once. Don't overboil it because it will then split.
Oh, okay,
Right?
you don't want that.
Same with the coconut milk. So once that is ready, you blend it, and then you can then decide if you pass it, if all the bits bother you in the mouth, you can pass it through a chinois or a sift.
Okay.
If it doesn't bother you and you want all that fiber, you can eat it with it.
Perfect.
So what we have here then is rice that I obviously pre-cooked. So at home you can play with this. You can add noodles, you can add rice, you can add whatever. So we have lentils. These are beluga lentils, richer in fiber and more antioxidants. Then we have sweet potato.
Yeah, the sweet potatoes.
And you need the protein in the lentils as well, of course,
Yeah.
for something like this.
And then we have freshly organic shiitake mushrooms. Then you have this baby corn that you can find anywhere nowadays.
Yeah.
And then at this point, you can add a ladle of your sauce. And then what you're left with is the garnish. So you play with it. So if you have chili, scallions,
Coriander. That's a good one. I like that.
I don't.
Yeah, we gave our orders to Carlos before. I got coriander, Elaine didn't.
So we have bean sprouts, bit of scallions, 2 chili just to look nice. So at home you can make it look like really spot on. And then we have pickled shimeji. We do them in the restaurant, but maybe one day I come back just to do all the pickles and ferments.
That's a good idea, actually. And pickling is quite healthy as well, isn't it?
Great for your
It
gut.
is, yeah. And then just the chef touch, which is a bit of coriander, and our signature sesame chili sauce.
Oh, it's absolutely gorgeous, Carlos. I love that. Like the sauce doesn't taste homemade. You know, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's absolutely delicious. Oh my God! And it does have it. I know you said it wasn't very spicy, but I'm getting the heat off it now.
It's an after kick. Yeah, it does.
But I'm telling you, on cold mornings like this, you couldn't pick a better dish. It's absolutely delicious. Carlos, thank you.
Thank you.
So much for
Thank
joining
you.
us on the show this morning. And of course, for more from Carlos, you can pop into your nearest nut butter at Dublin's Grand Canal Dock or Smithfield and tell them we sent you.
Absolutely. Now grab your massage oil. The Dreamboys will be here next.
And Martin. You're getting oiled up.
Against just Martin. You're very welcome back. Now, we have saved the best for last as our next guests are experienced with making hearts race.
Yes, a global phenomenon with 80 performers. Their renowned show has been a fan favourite for 35 years, seducing audiences internationally. Give a big welcome to the Dreamboys.
Morning,
Good to see you,
guys.
lads.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
Oh, we're delighted to have you. 35 years, Shane.
It's been a long, long go.
Okay, so what is the secret to this longevity and what makes it work for you guys?
What makes it work is this guy here, Jordan, does the choreography. He's been in the business for years and years, and he's the best at what he does.
Yeah.
And he brings us all together, and...
Not that old.
Oh, well, I was going to say,
He said years
have you
and
been
years.
I'm guessing you haven't been choreographing it for 35 years.
For
Jordan.
35 years, no. I know I look good, but not that good.
But you guys have become friends.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely more than that. We're a brotherhood. That obviously we're like a little football unit. We toured the country together. We obviously performed together on stage in front of all of our amazing audience members. So we can't help but just become very close and a little family, really.
Yeah, that does give you kind of a collective experience that's
Yeah.
hard to replicate other places. So you are the choreographer. How do you come up with the new routines? Where do you get your inspiration from, Jordan?
Everywhere. I have some incredibly talented performers at the Dreamboys that I can hone in their skills, and they obviously help with their solos. So I just bring the best of them to the stage, as it were. But as in ideas, anywhere. There's ideas everywhere for our show.
Is it true that you got an idea from watching an episode of Countdown?
I did. That was actually last year's show, and I was sitting there watching, and it was the clock ticking, and I was like, and then I did a whole 15-minute piece with everyone from that in different outfits, and policemen and firemen. It was a little game show.
What a conundrum!
What a conundrum!
I can't wait to see the 15-minute dance based on Ireland AM.
Oh my gosh, purely based on you.
Pressure's on me now.
Next year's tour.
You've got Irish links, don't you? Well, with a name like Shane, surely you do.
Yes. Yeah, my brother actually grew up in Dublin. He's very different to me. He breaks in horses while I dance on stage. And then my nan's side were all Northern Ireland, and then they moved over. So, yeah, all my family, big Irish family.
He breaks horses, you break dance?
That's it. Yeah, we could say that.
Break hearts.
Or hearts. Look at that. It was right there. It was right there.
Ryan, what were you doing before you took up dancing?
Before I was dancing, I was working full-time as a consultant for a software company, doing training consultancy around the country. So a very different life to what I have now, you know. Started dancing 20-year-old, worked in clubs, you know, corporate events, and then got offered the amazing Dreamboys at 23-year-old.
Wow.
And their life's totally changed.
I can imagine. What a pivot.
I know, right? Yeah, I know, right?
Can I ask you, Jordan, have things changed in the last 10 years? You know, have you got a more diverse sort of fan base?
Very much so. Part of the amazingness of our show is that we do a different show every single year, and we evolve with the times. That's part of our charm and our uniqueness, and it's very much so. We've now gone global, and that's a massive thing for us. So that's one of the major things for us. But everything it's changed. I can't explain. But so is the world, and all we've done is changed with the times.
Gone with it.
So as a team, you must have some amazing and I'd say crazy memories. What's an appropriate story that
Appropriate is one. But
I can call it.
Fireman.
You tell the story.
So obviously, in one show, we were all dressed as firemen. Doing a fireman routine, and in our show it's very immersive, so we have the lights going off and that smoke, and it makes you think it. So in the building the actual fire alarm went off, but our audience then obviously was like, yay, wow, this is so incredible. But then the real firemen turned up in their fire engines. Then they come in to get everyone out, and then our audience just went, there's more Dreamboys, wow. And then it was just a whole big massive thing. So yeah, you can't get more immersive than that.
No.
They didn't know, bless them, the firemen.
The real firemen were so embarrassed, bless them, but they did a crazy job.
They were fairly impressed too.
I'd say they enjoyed that day at work, all right.
We just saw a clip of one of your shows. Shane, it seems as if we've got multi-generational audience members. So do we have mom coming with her mom and with daughters?
We do, and we have that a lot. So you have the generations of their 19, 20-year-old granddaughter, then their mum, and then the nan, and they all have an amazing time for different reasons. And you can do that with family.
We had a lady come a few months ago who came for her 101st birthday.
Betty?
Yeah, Betty. They asked her what she wanted to do for her birthday, and she was like, I want to see the Dreamboys.
And she had her nieces, daughters, granddaughters, the whole family.
I do not blame her one bit. Now, we've great chatters, but I want to see the dancing, OK? So I'm going to leave Martin in your very capable hands, and please mind him, all right? Please mind him. There we go. Off you go, Martin.
I'm now in the Dreamboys.
You are.
Welcome.
Sweet. Take it away. No. Okay. Right.
Go on. What are you going to teach us?
Well, I mean, I'll teach you a couple of our basic moves, and then I will show you our signature move and see if you're down to do it all.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you know what? Okay. Do you know what? Up until about 30 seconds ago, I was all right. Now I'm very nervous. I can only imagine what it's like for you boys on stage.
Right, okay.
Right. Okay.
Cool. Well, don't be nervous. So if we step...
Yeah.
Very simple. Yeah. Very basic. It's a lot about the attitudes that you have. Yeah. We're stepping to the right. Exactly. Your Zoolander blue steel. Step to the right. Slide to the left.
Slide to the left. Yeah.
Simple. Now we just put a bit of flavour on it. Step to the right.
Oh, right. Okay.
Bit of flavour. Pow. There we go. Yeah. And to the left. Put some hips into it.
Yeah. There we go.
And then I just need a little point down the camera.
Okay.
And a little wink. Pow.
I'm in. I'm in.
That's nice. That's the
Come
start.
to our show. It's in Drogheda tonight, Galway. Oh, sorry, I'm not in yet.
Right. That's the starting level. Yeah. And then we build up to our signature, we say, which is something called the dolphin dive, which we have one of the boys show you here.
The dolphin dive.
The dolphin. Ryan, and 6, 7, and pow. Oh. And then up.
You ready?
Right, are you ready? So you've gone from 0 to 100. This is the 100.
Yeah.
Your game.
Can I just fall?
You can, yeah. If you can do it in a sexy motion, then that's fine.
Okay. Do you know what, lads? I'll just let you get on with it.
Okay,
and I'll do the slide. You can remember to do the slide.
Okay, we can all do it together one last time.
Okay.
But we need your wink down the camera. That's very important.
Yeah.
Beautiful. You
Okay.
ready, boys? 6, all together?
We're all in.
5, 6, 7, and to the right, to the left, and point, and wink. Yeah, amazing.
Smashed it.
I mean...
Bravo! Don't do the dolphin dive.
Control yourselves, ladies. Come
do
on.
something a little more energetic. Go on.
Ah.
Do the worm.
Amazing. I mean, if you would like to...
Something easier, less
do it.
stressful on the back.
Yeah? Cool.
Can we get the music going? Because we're nearly done.
You want to get the music? So after your little wink, right? Can you salsa? Can you move your hips a little bit? Just perfect like that.
Boom. Yeah.
Cool. So after the wink,
Let's go.
We need a little turn.
Let the boys dance.
Go, and then you want to let the boys dance. So yeah.
Let the boys dance.
Yeah.
Cue the music, lads.
Amazing. Cool. Cool.
It's getting late to give you up. I took a sip from my devil's cup. Slowly, it's taking over me. Do I can't come down? It's in the air and it's all around. Can you feel it? With a taste of your lips, I'm on a ride. You're toxic, I'm slipping under. Taste of a poison paradise. I'm addicted to you. Don't you know that you're toxic? And I love what you do. Don't you know that you're toxic?
Well done, guys. Well done. Martin's trying to take his shirt off here, God love him. No, it's okay. It's okay.
Sure.
We're grand. I'm certain. I'll leave
A
it on.
reminder,
leave
the
it on.
Dreamboys will be performing in the TLT Concert Hall in Drogheda tomorrow and in Town Hall Theatre Galway on Sunday. Tickets are available from dreamboys.co.uk.
You'll catch your death, God love you. Do you put on some clothes? Anyway.
Just to announce the winner of the competition that we ran today, it is Tracy. She says in 1991, herself and her siblings were put into foster care, and she remembers it like it was yesterday. Her foster parents spoiled them. They're only meant to be there for 2 weeks, and they're still there 33 years later with the same foster family. She couldn't ask for a better Christmas present in 1991, her forever family. So congratulations, Tracy. You are the winner of today's competition.
Right. See you same time tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.